Hey, welcome back. This is your host, Liz, and you're listening to the Bad Millennial Podcast, a show that dives into hilarious woes, stories, and the ever changing culture of our generation. From cringeworthy dating shows to navigating the workforce, my podcast is going to cover it all. So please stay tuned on the latest, and so you can hear new trends and all of the stories from fellow millennials on their own experiences. Whether you're a proud member of the millennial generation or just trying to understand the world through our lens, Bad Millennial is the perfect podcast for you. And if you're watching this one on YouTube, please subscribe to the channel at Bad Millennial Pod. And don't forget to click the likes button and whatever podcast platform you're listening on. Go ahead, subscribe, leave a review, and hit the like buttons there too. So, in this episode today, I just can't hold it in anymore. It's been a while, but I need to discuss Beyonce, specifically Beyonce's album Cowboy Carter. Oh my God, blew my mind. And I have to show you, I'm literally wearing her merch right now with, well, her merch from the last album, Renaissance, and even the shirt, America's Got a Problem. Like, honestly, if Lemonade taught us anything, it's that you cannot fuck with Beyonce, Giselle Knowles Carter, okay? And but sometimes when you do, you kind of get greatness from her. So I'm also kind of happy that this is her response to what happened with the CMAs when she performed in 2016, literally days before the election, when Black Lives Matter was hot. And she decided to do a surprise performance of Daddy Lessons with the Chicks, which is one of Beyonce's like first forays into the country sound that she did on her Lemonade album. So the performance was amazing, but the backlash was swift and intense. And I even read some things that like some people even walked out of the CMAs at that time. And there were just so many like racist comments. And basically, she was not welcome. Dixie Chicks were also not welcome. Well, they're called the Chicks now, but they also weren't welcome because they protested the Iraq War a while ago. So basically, the CMAs and country have just been so guarded against anything that isn't what they think country should be, which Beyonce being very Black, very all about Black Lives Matter, and very popular in the pop and R&B space. A lot of the country people and CMAs were very much against that. And even in her like note to us all about the release of Cowboy Carter, which is Act Two of her Renaissance trilogy, she said that this honestly, her hope is that years from now, the mention of an artist's race as it relates to releasing genres of music will be irrelevant. This album has been over 5 years in the making. It was born out of an experience that I had years ago where I did not feel welcomed. And it was very clear that I wasn't. But because of that experience, I did a deeper dive into the country of me of I did a deeper dive into the history of country music and studied our rich musical archive. So honestly, I love that Beyonce is here to clap back and also reclaim her own country roots because Beyonce's country. She was born in Texas, raised in Texas, from Louisiana, Cajun, and her daddy from Alabama. Like, come on. So, anyway, this album is amazing. It took us from her Louisiana Cajun country roots to the streets of Memphis to the Oklahoma plains, and even like shared her memories of like performing at Texas rodeos. Like Cowboy Carter and this whole Renaissance trilogy is really just Beyonce creating another world in her image while paying homage to Black artists, Black history, and the amazingness of Black music that tends to be whitewashed quite frequently in America and just ignored. And so I really love that Beyonce is like in her era of I don't care what anyone says about me, I'm going to do what I want to do. And She also reminds us this is not a country album, it's a Beyonce album. So we're swapping out Club Renaissance for Country Radio Texas, KNTRY. And we have Willie Nelson, the legend, guiding us through all these different stations of Americana, folk, country, and all the while, Beyonce's reminding us that Black artists started these types of music and they never stopped playing them, despite what Hollywood and the movies and Nashville and the CMAs want you to believe. Okay. And even going through this album and even the title, I learned so much history. Back in the day, white ranchers, they actually called their white employees cowhands, while they called their Black employees cowboy as a derogatory term of them just being boys and not real men. So Cowboy Carter is more than just a fuck you, and it shows and proves that she is country, she belongs on that stage, and so is every Black musician that she's invited onto this album. So she's here to remind y'all about the history and also show you what amazing Black artists can do. So this is such an amazing album, like I said again, but let's get into the music specifically. All right. My favorite songs have to be one of her singles that she released earlier out while promoting this album, which was 16 Carriages. It just has such a good, even beat, 16 carriages, riding away. And it's just like, it takes you kind of on a journey. And that's what I felt like throughout this album. She was guiding us through kind of like a visit to her hometown. And here's what we used to dance to, and here's what we used to eat, and here's how we grew. And like 16 Carriages is a nice like lull into it. And then my other favorite has to be Daughter. I mean, Daughter exploded my mind. And she goes, obviously, I'm talking about the opera part in the middle of the song where she literally is singing Italian opera, which is the song Caro Mio Ben, which I guess is like the song that every opera student has ever sang. So it's extremely popular and historic. And Italian TikTok like taught me so much, and they also freaked out right alongside with me. RIP TikTok if you actually truly do go away after this ban. But Daughter was so beautiful and so rich, and like Beyonce knows how to tug at your heartstrings and make you not just cry but also think. And it was, oh my gosh, Daughter and 16 Carriages definitely have the most streams for me. I also love how Beyonce is like playing with folk music and the golden era of country with the legends co-signing. Besides Willie Nelson, you also have Dolly Parton and Linda Martell, who was the first Black woman to play at the Grand Ole Opry. And having Dolly and Linda like just talk and have a voiceover is on Jolene and Before Spaghetti. Like, oh my gosh. Like, do I talk about Jolene first? Okay, I have to talk about Jolene first. It's like one of the two songs that Dolly Parton is on. There's Dolly P, where Dolly, she just sounds like a sweet animated Disney character. And she's talking about her version of Jolene, how she had to deal with that hussy with the flaming locks of auburn hair, and how she's basically excited to see how Beyonce is handling Miss Jolene. And for Beyonce, Jolene, shit, this is a warning, okay? Basically, she rewrote this song as a warning that you do not mess with my man. You are not the first and you will not be the last to be playing around in my face. But I suggest you don't, because oh my gosh, Beyonce does not play. Like, she's literally like with Dolly, she was just begging her and like complimenting her, like, oh, you're so beautiful, and like you could have any man you want. Like, please just leave mine alone. I'm begging you. No, Beyonce comes straight out. I'm warning you, don't come for my man. Don't take the chance because you think you can. I'm a woman too, Jolene. The games you play are nothing new, so you don't want no heat with me, Jolene. Okay? You don't want this smoke, so shoot your shot with someone else. I know I'm a queen, Jolene. I'm still a Creole Banshee bitch from still Louisiana. There's 1,000 girls in every room that act as desperate as you do. You a bird. Go on and sing your tune, Jolene. Oh my god. Like Beyonce is an entertainer. Okay. She is amazing. Like that, clear as day. And obviously we all know the drama and the bullshit that her and her husband have gone through throughout these years. I mean, what even created Lemonade and his, album 444 and all that. Like they've been through ups and downs and they know each other since they were like teenagers. So the fact that 20 some years later, plus 3 kids, and still making records and creating like amazing international tours and also just being like so historical icons, like Beyonce and her man are together forever and nothing's gonna get between them. And Jolene, I mean, sometimes I feel bad for Jolene because she's been dragged for how many years now? Since Dolly wrote that song and it's been re written and reversioned and played like for so many years. Like Jolene Jolene's stupid at this point because she's had so many warnings, but like now that the queen bee has been like back off or else we just won't hear from Jolene ever again. Okay? Like it's just so funny to me. I love it so much. So definitely go ahead and listen to Jolene, Beyonce's version. Also, like a fun thing I learned is that it says that it was written by Dolly Parton, but that's actually like a clause that Dolly put in her original like Jolene song that like anyone who sings Jolene and wants licensing rights to sing it, like Dolly was like, my name has to be for the songwriting credit. So shout out to Dolly. She is a smart, smart businesswoman. Okay, that's how she's lasted this long, and why she's so admired. Like that woman's brain also needs to be studied. So, um, so then I'll go to, let's see, what's my other favorites? I could go through all of these, but there's just like so many, 27 songs. I'm so happy. I have to say that I'm also happily surprised that this isn't just like what I thought it would be, like a typical country album. I never should have doubted the Queen, of course. I'm sorry. But I thought it was just gonna be, country, square dancing, and like, especially with Texas Hold'em, the other original single she gave to us. I was just like, okay, so it's just gonna be country dancing, which is fine. I'm not generally a country music lover myself, but of course I should have never doubted her. She says it's a Beyonce album, not a country album. So other songs that were just so like out there and different. I mean, Spaghetti, um, and Yaya, Riverdance, Tyrant, Sweet Honey Buckin'. I mean, these are songs that you just do more than dance to. Okay, it's you groove in your car, like you getting the mood on. You're putting on the music and the candles. You just twerking at the club. Like Beyonce is just. I just love how this music. While yes, there's like a lot of history behind it, um, and culture. It's so much fun. It's like a celebration of what country music and all of the genres that relate to it. Like, I mean, if you dive deep into country, like there are so many things that you wouldn't even know. I mean, from like carols to Italian music to its origins in Irish music, and like there's just so many things that this album has packed into it where you're like, oh my gosh, it's like that meme from the was the that Philadelphia show. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, where like the guy has like the strings going from point A to point B, point C to D. That's basically Cowboy Carter. Like the inspiration that she's gotten from so many different things and genres is fantastic. And it all works. It all melts together. And you could play this over and over again. In order, out of order, like, oh my gosh. Um another I mean, I love that Beyonce is always for her family. I mean, she's usually praising her mom, her sister, and dragging her dad. But now her babies, Blue was on her album and tour of Renaissance last year. That was freaking amazing. And now her other daughter, Rumi, has made her little foray into music with the song Protector, which was so sweet, just like a little lullaby. And like, I'll be your protector, I'll be your projector. And just really like letting us in onto how much Beyonce loves being a mother, how much she loves being someone to lead the next generation, even with how she's like mentored, Halle and Chloe Bailey, those amazing sisters who now have their own, separate musical careers. Like Beyonce is a giver and a lover. And I just love how even having her daughter Rumi on this quick little song was just kind of really reminding how important family is to her and how important building that strong bond with her family is, despite being an icon and I can't even imagine her work schedule. Even the idea of thinking of Beyonce taking a day off is like, while she's still taking photos for Instagram or like plotting the next whatever, that woman thinks 25 years ahead. So it's just nice to like get the intimate moments from her when she lets us in, because Beyonce's a private person, and I appreciate that. And I think that's probably what's kept her sanity as well as the longevity of her career. She prioritizes what's important, and family's number one for sure. I also love how Rumi now has like a number one single under her name and like more streams, I think, than Blue's songs have had. Like, if she wins a Grammy for this song, I mean, not that there's going to be infighting, but it's just like, it's so funny. It's like, okay, so sir, Beyonce's son, what's she going to do? What are you going to do next? Are you doing some, guest appearances? Are you going to be rapping on something that Jay-Z is going to come up with? I mean, no pressure, but yeah, I just love that. Just creating another generation of icons. It's everything. Bodyguard was good. I felt like I saw a lot of discourse that people are like, Bodyguard is just about Beyonce's Bodyguard. And what's his name again? I love him so much. Bodyguard, Beyonce's Bodyguard is who? What is his name? Oh, Julius. Thank you. Okay. Yeah. So apparently everyone in the Bayhive was like hoping the song's about him. And we've been obsessed with him for years because he's just always there. And even, especially with the elevator fight with Solange and Jay-Z, yes, is in the corner, he was protecting Beyonce with his life. Jay-Z could get it, but he was protecting Beyonce. Like, it's just something about someone who is so good at their job and just is always there. And he's even like just one of those figures on the tours where you're just like, oh my God, there's Julius. Like he's an icon in his own right. So literally a whole song called Bodyguard, where he's like, I give you kisses in the back seat, I whisper secrets in the backbeat. I mean, it's probably like it's like fan fiction. Like Julius and Beyonce would be great together in another universe. Like in another universe. She would love to be his bodyguard too. But yeah, no, that was a good song. Okay, so I guess I do love Willie's like drop-ins here and there. It's so fun, and he's like, you know me, I don't need to know your name, like legend, whatever. And I appreciate him guiding us through the different like radio stations because there are a lot of different genres, as I've mentioned before. Another one I really want to geek out about is Most Wanted, which originally when seeing just this song, I was like, oh, it's going to be like another Beyonce and Jay-Z collaboration. because they've done Most Wanted before, but seeing that it's between Miley Cyrus and Beyonce, that's a little fascinating. And when you think about if you really, really think about it, beyond Hannah Montana, Miley is like one of country's sweethearts. I mean, her daddy's Billy Ray Cyrus with that one song, Achy Breaky Heart, and her godmother is Dolly Parton, who is also on this album several times. And then, Beyonce did Jolene. So it makes sense when you really think about it. Um, but it's just not two voices that you ever thought would just meld really well. But Miley has grown so much since she's gotten out of her like era of just trying to figure out who she is and also like just make big splashes. Like when she really focuses on her artistry and her music, Miley can sing. Okay. Like she did all these like backyard sessions. I don't know if this was like during the pandemic or right before, but she was singing like an animal onesie with Ariana Grande, just covers and even covering like some of Dolly's songs. Like, oh my God, that rasp and the timbre of her voice, like Miley is a star, no doubt. And the fact that she finally won her first Grammy, what was it, this year or last year? And she's just very much in her I'm just gonna do me and I love me phase, and she's just so free. It's really great for her. And the fact that Beyonce recognized her talent, like we have to respect and bow down to Miley. Like you've loved Beyonce since birth, and now you're actually on the album with her. Amazing. I thought it was also a beautiful song. Like, and it could be interpreted in many ways. It could be like them singing to their lovers. It could be them singing to each other. Just the importance of relationships, and I'm down for you and you're here for me. It's very beautiful. It's some type of love song, and I appreciate that. It was a surprise for sure, especially with right after that is another collab, but with Post Malone for Levi's Jeans, the song. Um, I am obsessed with Post Malone just because his face, his whole everything is just you don't expect that voice to come out of the appearance of Post Malone. So he is very talented. He can sing like very well. Um, it's just odd that he would be on a Beyonce album. I mean, I appreciate again anyone who's collaborating with Beyonce means you're a Beyonce fan. So good on you. You're very smart. And talented enough that Beyonce recognizes it. So I can't really, debate too much against the Queen. I just thought that it was just like a really weird pairing and out of left field. Like I don't know Post Malone's history with country, or if he is from the South, or like if this is just him appreciating the genre. I mean, it sounds good. It is a really good song. And Levi's jeans, Texas, the South, it's all interconnected. So it makes sense there. It's just Post Malone was an interesting choice. Oh, apparently this was written by Beyonce and Post Malone and 3 more artists. So Post put in some work. It's good. It's good. It's just not expected. I honestly think I could have done without. Okay, yeah, because I'm gonna have to listen to it again. But now that I'm thinking about it, I think that's maybe one collab and song I could have done without on this album. Sorry. um, what else stood out? Yaya, a bop. Just honestly could have been on the Renaissance album. It's just such a fun dance song. Oh Louisiana was way too short. Like it was so beautiful and it's just way too short. I wish we could have had like another minute or 2 more minutes, but it was more so like a bridge. And apparently it comes from Chuck Berry's Oh Louisiana, which I'm gonna have to listen to see how they compare. But beautiful song that definitely needed to be at least 2 minutes longer. I'm trying to remember what else kind of like popped out at me. Riverdance, apparently, like, fingernails were used as percussion, kind of like with what Dolly did in 9 to 5, which is cool. I wonder if they were Beyonce's nails that were being played. That was a good song, very fun. I'm also seeing that The Dream produced a lot of these songs, which good for him. Um, Tyrant was dope as well, and Sweet Honey Buckin' with Shabuzi. Shabuzi's a new artist that I've just tapped into thanks to this. I feel like I've probably heard one of his songs before, but after this, I've just been like going through Shabuzi's like entire like tracks and Alpha's albums. Such a cool, dope guy. Like fun, lots of energy. Um, yeah, speaking of Shabuzi, I just love that she included so many Black country artists who aren't getting really the credit or the, you know, the fame or the respect that they really do deserve. So I really appreciate her bringing them onto this album and also like kind of introducing them to us. Um, Another one was with Blackbird, where she had Tanner Adele, Brittany Spencer, Tierra Kennedy, and Raina Roberts. I've been listening like house down to Tanner. She and her Instagram is just very much for my type of audience. Like she's so fun, she's flirty, she's silly, and she can sing. And the fun like fact about Tanner is that she went to Beyonce's Renaissance concert, and was like, okay, I have to sing with Beyonce one day. And I think she like tweeted it or maybe Instagrammed it. And so the power of manifesting is so wild because now she's on the album with Beyonce. Um, and Blackbird, which was the second song, it's really sweet. It's very understated. And until you learn the history of Blackbird, which apparently was written by Paul McCarthy, um, which was about the Little Rock. Actually, let me look this up before I get this wrong. Blackbird, Beyonce. So Beyonce used the original backing track with Paul McCartney's Blessing. And this recording was in 1968. Wow, 56-year-old original. How old is Paul McCartney? He wrote Blackbird in response to the civil rights movement that was at a fever peak in America at the time, associated with Black women, especially. Apparently, bird in British slang is girl. Wow. So there should be more on this, but basically, it's definitely like a civil rights song, kind of based on the Little Rock Nine, who were Black girls who had to be escorted by military personnel to go into their school, which was newly integrated. And of course, there were a bunch of protesters about that. So go Paul McCartney. Paul McCartney. Go Beatles. Appreciate y'all very much for the civil rights movement early on. Love it. But yeah, and then the rest of the album, I mean, there's a lot, and there's a lot, basically. And the thing about this album is it has to be digested in bites over and over again, which is why it's taken me so long to even try to review it. And there's so many surprises on this album, and there's so much love and passion and detail, and like every sound is just historic. And Beyonce says she focused on this album as a continuation of Renaissance. She hopes it's an experience, creates another journey where you can close your eyes, start from the beginning, and never stop. Like, I agree. You are very excited to hear what's next while you're also listening to the current song. It is that good. And it's very much what sums it up is Linda Martell's voiceover on Spaghetti, where she says, "Genres are a funny little concept, aren't they? In theory, they have a simple definition that's easy to understand. But in practice, well, some may feel confined." And one thing about Beyonce is she will never be confined or contained. Okay. I am so excited for part three. You know, Beyonce with this trilogy continues to highlight and pay tribute to Black culture and history, and just reminding us that Black history is American history too. Black music is American music. Learn your history and just celebrate it all. I'm also like interested that this Cowboy Carter was supposed to be released first and then Renaissance. Um, Beyonce confirmed that, but she was like, you know what, after a pandemic and all of the craziness that we've had to endure these past uh, decade, really, we needed to dance and we needed to get outside and we needed to have fun. And I'm so happy that she did decide to do Renaissance first, because Renaissance just like, I really think it woke us all up and kind of infused life back to us. While Cowboy Carter is like a nice journey, you know, you're just galloping on your horse and like kind of figuring out where you're gonna go, but enjoying the journey, not trying to get to destination anytime soon. But I do see where it could start with this a little bit to flow into Renaissance, because if you play the last song of Cowboy Carter, Amen, it goes into the first song on the Renaissance album. So interesting how that worked out. But Beyonce makes no mistakes to me. Honestly, she makes no mistakes. And I needed Renaissance. I was very happy to go attend her tour in Las Vegas and had the time of my life with all of the like sparkles and disco balls that I could find. It was so much fun. And I am very excited to see if she's going to do a tour. I mean, I know she's going to do a tour, but like when, how, this year, next year, you know, I thought I was seeing Easter eggs in the Verizon commercial during the Super Bowl, where she kind of like basically dropped this album after Super Bowl. But in like the Verizon commercial, she was sitting on top of the Las Vegas Sphere at one point, and I was like thinking, oh, maybe she's going to do like a residency in the Sphere. But I feel like that's limiting for her, just because like the way she like designs sets and tours, and even like the behind the scenes we saw during the Renaissance movie, I don't, I feel like she'd feel limited just being in Las Vegas that whole time. Also, she has an international audience, so like tickets would be sold out every single time. Like I don't see how we would all be able to get a piece of Cowboy Carter and enjoy it, you know? So I wonder when the tour is gonna come out. I wonder, not to get too ahead of myself and trying to enjoy it now, but I wonder when Act 3 is coming out. Obviously, the rumors are that's going to be a rock album. And with Lemonade, she did an amazing song um, with Jack White. And if you stalk Jack White, he had an Instagram story where, or post where like she sent him flowers as a thank you. Beyonce has Easter eggs everywhere. She drops hints everywhere. She literally just gives it to us. We just don't see it because she's just so talented and just so creative and low key. Like she's a mastermind at branding and promoting herself. For sure. Definitely take masterclass from her. But yeah, I'm excited for all of that. So let me know, what was your favorite Beyonce song on Cowboy Carter? Are you gonna dress up to go on tour? Do you have your cowboy hats and like boots ready with the belt? Like, or are you kind of like, this was cool, I like Renaissance better? Or are you like, I'm waiting for Act 3 to give my final thoughts on this whole Renaissance trilogy? Like, let me know. I'm so excited to hear your thoughts about Cowboy Carter and Beyonce as a whole. Obviously, I'm a huge Bayhive fan member, so I'd love to connect with you guys as well. So Yeah, I'm very excited um, about all to come. That's Beyonce. Like, she truly does help make life better for us fans, and just continues to inspire us. So, yeah, I really love that sense of community, even if it's online and everything, and even if my wallet looks a little dusty after a Beyonce merch drop. I won't lie, I won't lie, but yeah, Beyonce just makes me so happy. So I'm excited and I'm loving whatever she's gonna do next. So let me know. Follow me at Bad Millennial Pod on Instagram, or tweet me on Twitter at underscore Bad Millennial underscore. I'm also on Threads, which is, I guess, basically connected to Instagram at Bad Millennial Pod. So yeah, DM me, tweet me, let me know your thoughts. And if you liked this episode, please leave a rating, 5-star rating if you can, and a review. And please subscribe to my YouTube or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts so you'll never miss a Bad Millennial episode.